All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To The Show Baseball Podcast presented by Beyond the Monster. I am your host, Andrew Parker, and today's episode, I have Joey Gartrell of the Boston Red Sox organization. Joey was a 15th round pick in the 2024 draft by the Red Sox, and he's actually recovering from Tommy John, and actually he is beginning a rehab assignment the week this drops, so he will be back before you know it, and he'll be back at an affiliate as well before we know it. So we had a great talk about, his journey from being drafted to recovering down in Fort Myers and now eventually getting into rehab games. But before I go any further, please, if you're watching me on YouTube, listen in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is you get your podcast, please like, subscribe. Helps me a ton, and I always appreciate it. But yeah, without further ado, let me shoot you on to the interview with Joey Gartrell. I am joined by Joey Gartrell of the Boston Red Sox system. Joey was a draft pick of last year's draft. He was actually in the 15th round, and he's been recovering from a TJ surgery he had in his final year at the University of Portland, which I will ask about here in a bit. But Joey, I do kind of want to just start off. You're obviously in Fort Myers right now. You've been there since you've been drafted. How has the rehab process been with the Red Sox?
So far rehab's been really smooth for me. There hasn't really been any major setbacks. The staff down here, ever since I got down here in July, has been phenomenal. Between the trainers and the strength trainers, and then also just the facility and what they have to offer, it's really cool just to be able to be part of that system. And they've taken great care of me. Technology-wise, they're tracking everything to try and keep us healthy and keep us on the right track. I've made some really big strides here in rehab. So, I love it down here right now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask the golden question here out front. What is your, I know every guy has it. I know your roommate, Alex Bichard, has his target that he wants to be ready to go by this certain date. What is your... what date do you have circled? You're like, I would love to be either at an affiliate, rehabbing, whatever. What's that date for you?
Ideally for me, it's June 4th. That's when I get off the 60-day. So that's ideally the most, I wouldn't say likely, but the most ideal situation.
Yeah, I know it's never, I know sometimes obviously, things can come up or maybe it's just like, be cautious with things or whatever. But I know it's obviously not set in stone, but I know speaking to Alex, he was just like, man, I want to be activated before the All-Star break. That would be ideal. So for you, June 4th, if you're activated on June 4th, you are a very happy man.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. That's coming up. Actually, I wasn't expecting 1 and 2 weeks from now, which I love the goal, but for yourself, obviously having Tommy John during college and before the draft, were you at all a little nervous, I guess, just having that happen when it did? And obviously, before you got drafted and everything, like what was your thought process like, I guess, when the injury occurred while you were still in school?
Oh, absolutely. It was my draft year, and I felt like I put myself in a really good position leading into it. And then, stuff happens, and it's just part of your career. Nowadays, it's kind of like a rite of passage for pitchers to get Tommy John. If you're throwing mid upper 90s. It was definitely a little bit stressful for college, but I had really, like I said, I'd set the framework my sophomore year specifically because I started the whole year. And then the 4 starts that I did get to have at Portland before I went down with the injury. With my coaches, my agent, and just the scouts I had already made connections with, they were able to kind of keep me sane through the early processes. And they told me to keep my hopes up and just trust that if you're meant to go, you will. The injury is definitely a setback, but it's not something that will long-term affect your career.
Yeah, and I guess you brought up something I am intrigued by as well, is, you obviously, you had the injury and the surgery pre-draft. And I guess let's talk about the interest-wise, is obviously you ended up getting drafted by the Red Sox. Was that something that you thought was going to be a possibility even before the injury? Were your talks with the Red Sox pretty good, or were they kind of maybe they came out of left field and drafted you weren't expecting it. I guess like how did that go? Like, pre-injury and post-injury.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox scout, our area scout, he was always on me from the beginning of he told me my freshman year, I didn't know that, but like, he'd been scouting me for a while, and we had made a really good connection my beginning of my junior year in the fall. So, I mean, they were probably the team that I figured had the most interest after injury, just because of my talks with him, and he was kind of that guy that I said keep your hopes up, like if it's going to happen, it'll happen. So yeah, I would say that I had a pretty good relationship with the Red Sox leading into the draft, both before and after surgery.
Okay. Yeah, and it's always so interesting to me, right? Because it's like, obviously you make connections with, say, your area scout, I think, is Carl, but like say like you made a good connection with him and then you had the injury, and it's like, there's an alternate universe out there where it's like, like maybe we're not as high on him as we were before. But that's actually great though, that they like stuck with you and, obviously giving you a great rehab experience down in Fort Myers. And we're going to get to see what you get to do here over the summer. But I want to talk about you as a pitcher, a healthy pitcher. I know that's something that you are dying and probably scratching to be. So who is Joey Gartrell, the pitcher? Like, what does your arsenal look like? Like where, pre-surgery, like where were you at velo wise? I guess like who are you as a pitcher?
Yeah. So, going into college, I was primarily a catcher in high school. So I was kind of still figuring out pitching when I got into college. But since my freshman year, I've kind of changed my entire arsenal. Now it's sitting with a four-seam fastball, a sinker, and then I have a sweeper, a gyro cutter that they added when I got here, and then a splitter. But a lot of my pitches came beginning of my junior fall. The splitter and the sweeper were kind of new, but in college, my strength was always throwing strikes. The velo kind of came late sophomore year. Like I had seen flashes of it, but it wasn't really until middle of sophomore year that I really found it. But in college, I was like, I guess for the four starts that I had pre-injury, velo is probably 92 to 94, top in 95, maybe 96. Beginning of my junior fall, I was up to 97 in bullpens, and then just kind of stayed around 95, 96 top. And after that, but yeah, I see myself in college and still now just a primary strike thrower. And I trust my arsenal. And now it's just kind of working on making my stuff nastier to get more swing and miss. But I really kind of leaned on that, getting ground ball outs and getting weak contact in college.
Obviously, it's no secret that it's, I don't know if it's a myth, if it's been proven, I have no idea, but obviously they talk about, the post TJ bump on velo. Where do you, I know you're not there yet. I know you're not trying to probably hit, anything high yet, but where are you hoping to be on the radar gun once you're completely healthy?
Yeah. So completely healthy. Ideally I'm sitting 95, top in 98 would be ideal. And I've seen flashes of it here in rehab, and I'm pretty excited to see where it comes out, because I know that for a lot of TJ guys, it's not really till 16 months that you get to see that full velo come back. But I'm also just excited to see, because I had a whole year to just kind of work on weightlifting, mobility, more body function stuff that I didn't necessarily have the time for before. So I'm excited to see where I come out of this.
Yeah, and that leads me to my next question here is, obviously during your time at Portland, you saw some time out of the bullpen your first year, and then you ended up turning into a starter for your last, year and 4 starts that you had your last year. But has the team kind of set any plans for you? Like, are you at that point yet where it's like, okay, like we want to see you come out of the bullpen, and then, we'll see how it goes and then move to the rotation? Or like, have you had any talks like that on like, I guess what your usage is going to look like?
Honestly, no. I'm asking every day as much as I know, because I should be starting my rehab assignment here next week with the FCL. Yeah, they haven't told us whether or not, because me and a couple of the TJ guys are kind of in the same spot, like Bush and Song, but they're keeping us at 2 to 3 innings. 45 pitches, pitch count roughly. But until we get to an affiliate, I don't think that that's going to be something that they tell us, unfortunately.
Well, you're on the brink of a rehab outing, like you just said there in the FCL. What are you most excited about returning back to pitching in a competitive game for the first time in over a year? What is probably a couple things that you're ready to do?
Well, I mean, I'm excited for the adrenaline boost because I mean, every part of rehab, there's that little bit of adrenaline. First time you get off a mound, first time you go to live hitters, like first time you get into a game, like that adrenaline is just something that I haven't really got to feel for 14 months now. And so I'm just really excited to kind of get that rush and see if I get a little velo bump out of it, or just see if my stuff moves differently because of that adrenaline. And then I'm also just excited to like have a defense behind me and actually see like what happens when balls are put in play. Because I mean, right now in live BP and stuff, balls get put in play every once in a while, and you don't know if it's going to be caught, ground ball, out, base hit. Like it's kind of hard to tell that stuff. So I'm just excited to kind of get back into the game atmosphere and kind of have to grind through the tougher moments, like getting base runners on, or kind of stuff I haven't had to deal with yet.
There's this aspect of Tommy John surgery that I think a lot of fans might not truly realize. Once you guys do have the surgery and you're pretty much just not seen for the next year and a half, whenever it is. And something that I think is an underrated aspect that probably should shield some more light on is the mental aspect of you not physically being able to do what you are being paid to do and what you got drafted to do and things like that. Like, the normal people like myself and everybody else probably listening to this is, you just think about it, you're working your day job and you have an injury that you physically can't do that job. Like there's nothing like it other than in baseball and professional sports. So for yourself, how have you handled like the mental side of it, as in like, I want to be out there so bad. I got drafted. I'm with the rest of my draft class. They're all out there at affiliates, like doing their thing. I can't though. So what are some things that you've done to kind of keep you busy and I guess keep your mind off of things to don't get too far down that rabbit hole?
Yeah, I mean, all the TJ guys go through it, of like kind of the monotonous feeling of like you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, even though you are. And I think that the biggest thing was in the baseball aspect, just working on the mobility of your body and just learning the functions of what you need to work on that doesn't have to do with throwing a baseball, because that's the stuff that can help you kind of get to that next level faster. And I learned that when I got here, just from the trainers and the strength coaches, and just kind of they put me through a whole body screening to help me find my weaknesses and what I could work on. And so I did that for 3 months before I even started throwing when I got down here. But then when it comes to outside of that, just the mental state, I mean, really just I found other competitive things to do that didn't have to do with throwing or my arm or my body really. Like I started golfing after I could, like after I was thrown out to 90 feet. But before that, I would do the left-handed bowling. I'd do the mini golf, or we play poker, like just anything that I could get just a little bit of competitive atmosphere out of to kind of keep my mind sane, I guess. Cause I mean, all of us guys here, like we like to compete. And if we can't do that, then like it's just kind of tough. But yeah, so I just found other competitive things that I could take my mind off things.
Yeah, you kind of led me to my next question here. It's, I always ask guys, because obviously around minor league baseball, you always have an off day on Mondays, or, whenever you're in the off season and you're kind of shut down a little bit from baseball. Like, what do you like to do for fun? I guess let's just say when you're fully healthy, like it doesn't have to be the offhanded bowling or anything like that. But let's say you do get into an affiliate and you got that Monday off day. What are you going to do with your time?
Definitely golf. Absolutely. Like
Okay.
everybody's going to say that. All pitchers,
Yeah.
like, yeah, exactly. But I mean, in the end, like it's something that you can go out with a group of guys. I mean, you get foursomes or eightsomes, and I mean, you can make it fun by putting money on stuff, or you could just, like you're out there for 4 or 5 hours. Like it kills time, and like you get the sun, like you're out in nature, like just kind of it's fun, it's competitive, it's kind of covers everything that you need to cover when you have extra time on your hands.
Yeah, I don't. It's very, very, very rare to have a pitcher. You talk to a pitcher, any clubhouse, anywhere around minor league baseball that is not golfing on the off day. It's incredibly rare. And
Mhm.
well, are you like a video game guy, or do you not have a console?
I am. I kind of only really play sports games, so like NCAA football or MLB The Show, the occasional 2K. Not really a big basketball fan, but but yeah, I play sports games a
Okay.
lot.
Do you have a real 99 yet?
No, because I applied like 2 weeks late for it, and so I'm like in the backlog of like the other hundreds of players that wanted them too, and so like I'm just kind of waiting for it, but it's coming. It's supposed to be,
Okay, that's
ideally.
gonna be sick when that comes. But
Yeah.
in regard, I do want to show some love. Obviously, I know we talked a little bit off air about this, but I wasn't as familiar with the University of Portland. You brought up the NCAA football, so I wanted to show some love to Portland here. You brought up Portland, and I admitted that I didn't really have any idea what Portland, I guess even what their baseball program was about until I had Sam Sewer on the show. So for you and being at Portland and obviously being drafted, and you also had another guy get drafted, and I don't know if you had any others, but how was playing for Portland? And I guess can you talk a little bit about the program and I guess where they're at these days?
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 or 4 years have been some of the best years in program history for Portland. I mean, my freshman year, we had 2 guys get drafted. This year, we had 3 guys get drafted. Like, we're producing talent, and it tends to be a lot more local guys on our roster. But just in the terms of the coaching, and they really just kind of push you to find your strengths, and then like you just continue to work on those, and like as the weaknesses come, you work on them, obviously. But they are more, I guess, they don't just push velo like for pitchers. Like they push stuff, and like it's West Coast baseball, so they're going to be pushing off-speed pitches. They're going to be pushing accuracy and precision because they're wanting to get outs. Because I mean, at a mid-major D1 like program, not everybody's going to be able to blow fastballs by guys. And so like they teach you that when you first get into the program, and that way for the guys that do make that velo jump later in their career, they already have that baseline for the other stuff that they can use, and then that's how guys get drafted, and that's how they go compete in pro ball. Like it's kind of what they've done their whole life. So
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I think I could be very wrong. Please correct me on this, but Portland has made the NCAA basketball tournament before, correct?
yes.
Okay. I think,
Yes, they have. If it was men's, it was probably 20 years ago, maybe around somewhere in there. Women's has
yeah.
made it more recently. Our women's basketball team has been doing really well the last couple of years. So
Oh man. Yeah. It's probably been 20 years. I just looked at your date of your year you were born. It's 2003, man. That's tough. So yeah, I was 20 years ago. I was 10. So it's not like I was like super old, but I think I do remember that. But yeah, but about Portland baseball, man, they're getting on the map. Obviously, getting guys drafted every year. I mean, I'm a Mizzou guy, and we don't even have guys getting drafted every year. So kudos to Portland for doing what they're doing right now. I got 2 questions left for you before I let you slide here. You have a roommate that's in this illustrious club right now that I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this podcast is the unofficial podcast of Zaxby's. And I have to ask, how many times have you ate that with having Alex Bouchard as your roommate?
yeah, so this is probably gonna be kind of surprising, but I've only had it once.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
Yeah, and there's nothing against it. I mean, I'm not really a big fast food guy,
That's fair.
but when I had it, I mean, it was great. The first time I had it was when I came down here to Florida because I mean we don't have that in on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, it's only been one time so far. I will go back definitely.
Okay.
But
Boosh
yeah,
is in the club. He's in the Zaxby's club. He just texted me the other day that he got it for dinner. I know Conrad Kaysen is getting it all the time. When I was down in Fort Myers, he got it probably 6 of the 7 days I was there. So that was incredible. There's a very distinct club in the Red Sox organization for Zaxby's guys. So might have to join it. I know that there's some in Salem. I know there's some in Greenville. But once you get up to New England, there's 0. So
Okay.
And there's obviously 2 in Fort Myers, so can't beat it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my last question here, you brought this up, obviously, in regards to where you're from, and you are an Oregon guy. You went to college in Oregon. You're on the East Coast now. You're about as far away from home as almost possible in baseball now. So it's two-parter. So for one, what do you miss the most about the West Coast and being back home? Obviously that you can't get in Florida, or what are you not liking about it? And then two, I guess, what was the biggest challenge, I guess? Was it obviously being so many time zones away from friends and family? Was it just different style of life? I guess, what were some of the challenges you had moving coast to coast?
Okay, so one thing that I miss about Oregon is just kind of how calm everything is. Like I mean, I live on 20 acres, kind of out in a rural area. So being home, it's really peaceful for me, and it's there's also completely different types of trees. It's a lot more green, and like everything, like the grass is softer, and we got like evergreens, and it's really beautiful out there. So probably the sights and just kind of the peacefulness of the nature. And then the second part, I would say the toughest part would probably, be the time zones. Just because calling family, like initially we had to figure out what 3 hour difference meant for our schedules. But in the end, like it hasn't been that big of an issue. Like for them, it's a long flight for them to come watch me play. They're still going to do it plenty, but that's probably also a factor. It's just the distance for them is going to be a lot of travel. But yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be putting in their miles to come see you, man. That's about as long of a flight as you could possibly have, I think, in the continental United States. It's got to be.
Yeah. Unless you're from Washington, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a good
it's
point.
probably a difference of a couple hundred miles, but it's not much.
Yeah, no,
So
that's it is. It's always crazy. East Coast is. I grew up in the Midwest, lived out on the East Coast, lived the South, everything, and it's East Coast is just different, man. It's fast out there. Even Florida, a lot of old people, but man, it's fast. But all right, Joey, I appreciate you a ton coming on. Obviously, wishing you nothing but the best, beginning the rehab assignment and getting to an affiliate, and hopefully the next time we have you on here, you have a full season under your belt and you are going and doing your thing. But thank you so much for hopping on.
yeah, I appreciate you having me.